Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Thursday, February 6th, 2020. If you're watching the VOD on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you are so inclined, head on over to twitch.tv/Otaku Showboat to leave a follow to be notified when I go live Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. US Eastern Time. You can do all of the social stuff through the links below the video, including supporting Pyadon's mods development at patreon.com/Pyadon and myself at patreon.com/Otaku Showboat. So, today, like right before the stream, Factorio 18.4 happened. I have not updated to 18.4, and I don't plan to because I'm going to assume that things have broken or things may break if I do this update, and then we'd have to sit and wait while I revert that update. So I'm not going to do that right now. We're going to do that later, and we're going to stay on 18.3. But just looking at the patch notes for 18.4, they're still screwing with sounds. They're still screwing with sounds. So that may cause problems again, like the last time recently that they have been messing with sounds. So, yeah, I'm sure there'll be something that they broke somewhere, some mod that I'm using in my big mod list, even if it isn't the Pi Suite. Yeah, ask me later about that, please, game. Yeah, please ask me later in that regard. I don't think anything would be affected by the specific things that they changed, but you never know. You never know. I might be running something. So, yeah, yesterday. Yesterday I burnt I burnt the back of my pinky. So, for those who don't know, I like do transcription for income, freelance transcriptionist, and yeah, that did not help yesterday. I wasn't really able to do that at all yesterday, so that was fun. That was fun. Uh, over it took like 3 hours for the pain to subside, and once it's gone, it's gone. I mean, now it doesn't matter that the burn mark is there. It's just like really. It was my finger brushed the bottom of a hot pan. As I was going to wash it. It was still apparently too hot to handle. And my finger just brushed the bottom of the pan holding the handle, because the handle is like really close to the actual pan itself where you hold it. So it's like, oh boy. Yeah, that wasn't nice. And that's coming after having gotten a small burn on the back of my other hand not too long prior to that from the oven. Yeah, that was also fun. This one didn't hurt as much as this little thing on the back of the finger. It's always the ones on the ends of the fingers that hurt the most. That hurt the most. It's always the ones on the fingers that hurt the most. And last the longest for the pain to subside. It's like, oh, great. Wonderful. Magnificent. What a way to spend my day yesterday. I did not spend a lot of time playing this yesterday. In fact, I've also sort of got something else vying for time at the moment, and that is I am exploring all of the changes that were made to Black Desert Online. Oh, woe is me. That's a beast of a thing. A lot's changed in like the a long time, 2 years ish. I think the last time I was really playing before I stopped again was like February 2018. So it's been a while. There's lots of changes. Lots of good changes. Lots of changes. And yeah, so that's been like taking my time, just trying to process all of the stuff that changed there. Anyway, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? Well, I will mention off the top, the bedding is different now. Pyandon did incorporate some of the changes. Good morning, Scooter Jack. So the bedding recipe outputs 2 now. That's one thing, and then the grod has changed, but Pi missed the hot air grod recipe on that. So the dried grod without hot air is now 1-to-1. So that has changed. But he forgot the hot air recipe as well for that change. So just no, it is going to 1-to-1. It's just this was oversight. Slight oversight there. So yeah, that has changed. Kickalk has not changed. Well, let's take that back. The speed of the Kickalk has not changed. Actually, if I have any of these buildings, yeah. So the speed of the Kickalk has not changed, but I think King Arthur sort of broke something. So King went through and was trying to address the issue of some of the early recipes not providing enough seeds, or not providing enough output to feed back enough seeds. They were negative loops when there's all supposed to be positive feedback loops. And I think in the process, something got a little bit messed up. Specifically right here on this. Kickalk 3 and Kickalk 4 are identical, but one outputs 4 and the other outputs 5. If I'm not mistaken, one of these recipes used to take lamps. Like if we go back to the previous stream, I think the highest recipe that I had access to was one that required lamps. So somewhere along the line, something got a little bit screwy here. These are now identical recipes. One does not need lamps, the other is, yeah. Anyway, that was like one of the first things that I noticed today. And I have to look at like what the other recipes are like as well. This one progresses. There is a time difference there. Yeah, so this one's fine. This one's fine. Yeah, it's just there's this is repetitive on the Kickalk specifically. What was the other one? The Yotoi. Do I have any Yotoi thingies in here? Of course not. Of course I don't have any of the Yotoi thingies there. Well, fortunately, I'm like right here. I'm like right here for the Yotoi thingies to have a look at this. So yeah, same thing on the Yotoi, where we've got 100 sand, 5 Yotoi, 100 water, 120 seconds, 5 seeds, yields 5 aloe. And then here we've got 100 sand, 5 seeds, 100 water, 120 craft time, yields 6. So Yotoi 2 and 3 are identical, except one yields 5, the other yields 6. So yeah, I think something got a little bit screwy there. I'm sure it's a missing ingredient. I think we're missing an ingredient on that Yotoi 3. Otherwise, one of these simply should not exist. And same thing on the fruit. We've got a 4 output fruit and a 5 output fruit for the same. Oh no, there is also a crafting time difference. So we've got the same inputs with a slight crafting time difference on the Yotoi Fruit 3 versus Yotoi Fruit 2. So, something's a little screwy on the plants. I'd say look at all of the plants, like all of the plants, and make sure there's uh, not an issue with the repetition of thingies. Recipes. Specifically, it looks like recipe 2 and 3 are somewhat identical across a number of things. But anyway, uh, outside of that, so bedding is better. Bedding is better. We've got better bedding. In fact, the one output on bedding using the 1-to-1 Grodd here, not taking a look at, or am I? Am I? Is this? Yes, this is with the like feedback with using bedding to get manure and all of that. This one uses, if I can find it, I think this one uses it. Wherefore art thou? Yes, this one is using the. Oh no, this is just the og food, not the one with bedding. Okay. So this is one where we're not feeding back bedding, and we can see the numbers here. This is very reasonable. Like this is very reasonable for 1 per second output. Yes, that is fine. And then as we want to scale up our bedding output, this will scale up fairly significantly on the Yotoi and the Kikalk. But over time, when we need more, we'll have access to better recipes on the Yotoi and Kikalk that will help keep the values within reason. That yeah, so King Arthur is just saying that he fixed an error and it broke those particular recipes. Yep. Yep. That happens when coding. Oh, let's fix this one issue. Oh, that fix broke this other thing. Now we have to fix this other thing as well. Anyway, so that's the story there for the betting. Our goal today is going to be this little beautiful factory. This is going to be our goal for the day. So I want bone meal. I wanna like grow some Ulric and process some Ulric. Why? Well, bone meal gets used a bit, a bit. So bone meal. It's one word in the code. Bone meal is used for biological sample 1s primarily. So I'm going to want to set up some bone meal to have a place where I'm making the biological sample 1s, which are used in alien sample 1s, which are used in sample 2s and Pi Science and Logi Science and Caravans. And yeah, it's used in things. Plenty of things. And we will be needing these samples going forward for first-ish versions of stuff and things and science. Science. Yes, science. That's what we need it for. It's for science. Which means we're going to need a lot of it when we do start making it for science. But we also have a couple of organic solvent recipes. Now, I was looking at organic solvent, and it's like, well, the arthropod blood would be nice, but hydrocyclones require niobium pipes. The whole point of setting up the organic solvent is because it's required to process niobium. We need organic solvent for the niobium processing chain, which is what we're working towards now. Niobium, then unslimed iron becomes available because we can access the hydrocyclones and various other buildings that require the niobium pipes. Lots of things require either niobium plate or niobium pipe. So that is our next major milestone goal. However, niobium is very, very expensive to actually process. It's easy enough to mine. I mean, it's quote-unquote hard enough to mine because you need the refined syngas to actually mine it. There's other ways available to us right now of getting some niobium ore. My concern isn't the ore, my concern is actually processing the ore into plates. And actually processing the ore, A, is going to require a lot of ammonia, but it's also going to require organic solvent. So I'm just looking for methods that aren't going to consume a ton of power, which is acetone syngas, unfortunately, even though it would give me both of the things that I need for the refined, for the processing of the niobium. This would give me both of the things that I need to process niobium. So I will need to like look at the various things, but either way, I need the and by the way, I would do the activated carbon actually, because this ends up being way too much bone meal on this initial organic solvent recipe. I would most likely do this one for the one that uses the bone meal, and then once I do get access and have some nitrocyclones, maybe we can start thinking about the arthropod blood into organic solvent. Maybe we can think about that at some point. I definitely need to be thinking about acetone syngas. I need to be thinking about the actual ways of getting acetone. Maybe I make cumene and do the like void phenol and just use it to make acetone. But if I do that, I would actually like this recipe instead of the phosphoric acid expenditure here. The phosphoric acid is what's quote unquote bad to me for this particular recipe. This one, it's just the titanium tetrachloride, and with chlorine being technically a little bit easier now, I've got titanium patches. This becomes more reasonable to me to use. So I think that will be the plan in the longer term. For now, though, probably this one. Transitioning into this one, then transitioning into this one. Oh joy. Oh bliss. However, bone meal. Bone meal. Let's kill Ulric. This is going to need 8 slaughterhouses, 73 corrals for a 3 per second output. 3 per second. That's half of a caged per second. At the moment. At the moment. This will change with tech. But yeah, you can see here pretty reasonable, right? Pretty reasonable numbers. I like these numbers. These numbers look fine, including the like 29 here for the basic OG recipe. Lots of options. By the way, if I wanted to, I could be spending betting on my my OGs to reduce the count on the OGs, but eh. And I could use betting to reduce the count on the Ulric corrals here, because I'm pretty sure I have different recipes that I can use for the Ulric. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to we're going to copy this, go over next door, add, or not add, but paste here. We're going to say output 3, but we're going to change this to this. And that gets added to the bottom, just have to like add it to the top and do one down. That would be 0.7 betting. And we could see what the infrastructure was like on the 1 betting. I would have to dramatically scale the Yotoi. For that. This is 56 buildings, and then also the Kickalk to 55. So that would involve a lot of scaling that I could absolutely do. I could absolutely do that level of scaling and have that like 0.7 that I need to do this. But look at how much it saves in terms of the number of Ulric corrals, because that's the balance here. Is we have to think about what is the increased cost versus the amount of buildings saved total. Well, I know that the Ulric here is 73 versus 68. That's 5 buildings. 5 buildings, we're spending an additional 0.7 bedding, and we're spending 3.2 salt as new inputs here. The salt, that's fine. We can ignore the salt, but the cost on the 0.7 bedding is a big set of infrastructure that is a lot bigger than 5 Ulric corrals at the moment. So at this point in time, for this particular recipe, in the current state of my base, it is going to be a better option to not use the bedding on the Ulric. That is the determination that we have made for this very specific circumstance, and that is why we're going to go with just the base food and have 73 corrals on that. But first, you may notice these inputs up here. These are our raw inputs that we need for all of this. The titanium, the tin, and the iron, and the tar are all on my train network. The water can be made locally. In fact, I could even bring in steel, but this is going to be a closed loop, so you just have to add water. What did Pyandon miss? Not much. I've just stated that given the type of savings I would get if I used bedding on this particular circumstance for Ulric, it's probably better just to have 5 more corrals versus the recipe with the bedding. 68 to get 3 bone meal versus, as we autosave, versus 73. So it's like, oh, I can spend 0.7 bedding and all of the stuff. All of the stuff. Ulric is unbalanced. 70 plus is too much. Eh. We're looking at 3 bone meal. Half of a caged on an initial food recipe. With just food. I mean, yeah, sure, that would be nice if that was a little bit faster. That is much. That's a lot of bone meal. Yeah, I just was discussing like what the plan is on the bone meal. At the moment, we need a lot of bone meal because it's ultimately going to be spent on science, both as green science and as the pie science, because the pie science, or at least a version of the pie science recipe, requires alien sample 2. Was I actually, yeah, it's alien sample 2 here, and 2 requires 1 requires biological samples, requires bone meal. So we're going to need bone meal at some form of scale. At some form of scale, just in the form of those samples, but also organic solvent. I'm going to most likely be starting with this organic solvent recipe, and then progressing from there. How viable is solar? Viable. The thing with solar is you need pyrite to actually make the solar panels. And pyrite is going to be sulfur and iron oxide. It's doable at green. It's doable at green. The only thing is actually getting the iron oxide at this phase of the game consistently. The consistent good iron oxides don't come until a little bit later at blue. This is my iron oxide recipe of choice. Iron oxide / gravel / crushed quartz of choice. Yes, and we found that King Arthur broke a thing. That's what we found was King Arthur broke a thing. So I was saying that I have a lot of this either on the network or I can make it locally. What I want to add to the network / need to add to the network is lead and ash, and that's what we will be doing at the very start today. We will be making / expanding our existing lead setup to actually make the lead plates, and then also setting up making ash, dedicated ash, which will be interesting and fun. And I'm going to need to grab some items while I'm here at my mall. So, lead. I already have a setup through lead dust, so we can ignore these first steps here. What I was looking at, what my concern was these 2 steps here. So we have 2.2 on the graphite, which is going to be some amount of coke. Some amount of coke exists. Also, someone did mention in a comment that there's this pin button that exists that makes the window smaller, and we can close that and just have this as a window. Which, yeah, that's nice. And then we can actually maximize and minimize and look at an even smaller version. Oh, that's nice. That's neat. But right here, what I'm looking at is getting that moved down to there ish. Why is that 0? I don't know. It should be 100. Give me I dislike Helmut at times. Yeah, it's a small window to look at while building. So I have to just make 2.2 graphite. I can bring in. So I need to bring in coke and graphite and tar, but I don't need a train station for tar where I'm building this. Depending on the situation, I may not actually need the trains for the borax either. But yeah, so we are going to be modifying this right here. So right now I'm converting all of the lead dust into silver. I currently have like over 300,000 units of silver just sitting in these 2 loaders. So my plan is I'm going to limit all of this, and I'm going to like put a major limit on this. It's going to back up on silver, and then all of the lead dust is going to be converting into molten and into actual lead. Yes, so much silver. It has been accruing at just under 2 units per second for a while from, 75 ore. 75 ore! Less than 2 at the dust phase. When it's like 40, it ends up being just over 40 plates of lead. 40 plates of lead, less than 2 silver, and it's an either or. So yeah, that's a thing. Of note, we've got coke here. So I don't need to I don't need to worry about my graphite so much. And the borax is right here. Like, the borax is right here. So am I really going to add a train station requester for the borax that's right here? Not really. Speaking of which, tar is right here. This is tar. Right here. So I've already got an existing pipeline. So I've got the tar to make the sand castings that I need. I've got the borax here that I can belt over. In fact, there's a belt right here of compressed borax that I can keep moving over. And that will be good. Hello, Rue. Hello. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. And for reference, the spot where I'm going to be making my dedicated ash slash syngas is going to be right here, because guess what? I need more syngas for this. So my ash slash syngas is going to be like right in here somewhere. I just need to like add a station for the ash in the end. I might have something for the spare syngas as well. And if I really wanted to, I could bake the tar locally via stone. But again, tar. The pipeline of the tar is right there. And oh hey, look, it's the actual tar patches that those exist. They go down to the bus and then over and then back up again. But yeah, plans and schemes, and it will all start with. I guess I can go ahead and pin this now. It will all start with 9 electric arc furnaces and 7 casting units, and a few high pressure furnaces for the graphite. I generally carry around some of this, I think. I also need the sand castings, so that is, yeah, washers, soil extractor, tar processing, and stuffs. Oh yeah, one more thing. Ziffo pools used to... there was just a slight issue with the Ziffo pools. They were requiring the old Relesia plantation item that you can no longer make with alien life. So now there's now I have Ziffo pools as like, okay, good. They're good. I can't use them because I can't make Ziffo yet. But yeah, it exists. Can't I burn silver for ash? Yeah, technically. Oh, one other thing to note here. So, even if I get the artificial blood to make the Mukmo, and even if I could actually make the Mukmo right now, I still can't actually use them until I get Circuit 2s, because the Mark 1 pastures require the Circuit 2s. Just for reference there. Can't use Mukmos until Circuit 2s anyway. I have access to make them. I just need artificial blood. So even if I could make the Mukmos, I can't do anything with them until... Well, I mean, technically, I could do this recipe and then cage them and then process them. But I can't actually grow them in their own pens because I can't make their pens yet until Circuit 2s. Maybe that is a thing that needs to change. That might be a thing that needs to change. Because otherwise I would have full access to these. They're just blocked by this one little thing here. That might be intentional. That might not be intentional. I don't know. We'll find out, I'm sure, shortly. So I need to grab things now. Things! Arc furnaces, casting units, high pressure furnaces. Yeah, free range, Mukmo. Free range. Where are my stuffs? Stuffs and things. Here's casting. Yeah, that'll do that. And electric arcs. I've already got that other infrastructure there. And over here-ish somewhere, we've got high pressures. Where did I put my high pressures? I forget. Here. Right here. There. There's high pressures. So I can now go and set this up, I think. I've got everything now? Yeah. Pretty sure I've got everything. Do I even need an input rail. No. I don't even need an input rail for this. Because I have everything close enough to either belt or pipe it in. But I do need to add an output rail with depot. That will be required for this lead, as my rock finder continues to be awesome. Let's just keep cleaning. Cleaning must continue of all of the rocks on the map. Yeah, all of this needs to like die and go away. I run into these way too much. Please stop and just go away. Lead.